You weren't placed on this earth by coincidence. There is a reason you woke up this morning, a reason you've survived what you've survived. And if you believe, even for a moment, that your existence is some kind of cosmic accident, you've already lost sight of the truth. You were chosen, not just biologically, not just circumstantially, but spiritually. That means your life has embedded within it a calling, something sacred, something essential. And the more you ignore that, the more chaos you invite, both internally and externally. People think purpose is optional, like a hobby you can pick up later in life when you feel like it. But when you neglect purpose, you're not just disappointing yourself, you're interrupting something far greater than you. You were designed with intentionality by a creator who doesn't make mistakes, and yet you live as if you're disposable. That's not humility, that's disrespect to the gift of life. When you realize you were chosen, you stop wasting time. You stop playing small. You start aligning your actions with your assignment, because in the end, either you fulfill the reason you were created, or you become the reason it never happened. When people talk about purpose, they often forget that alignment matters just as much as ambition. It's not enough to want to do great things. You have to obey the pull toward what's right. And here's the truth most aren't ready for. Every time you delay what you know you're supposed to do, you're not just pausing your progress, you're interfering with God's plan. Disobedience isn't always loud or rebellious. Sometimes it looks like hesitation. Sometimes it looks like convenience. But at its core, it's resistance to divine instruction. You can't keep asking for direction while ignoring the last command you were given. That's spiritual immaturity, waiting for new revelation while refusing to act on the one that's been sitting in your gut for years. You think you need more clarity, but what you really need is more courage. Your destiny isn't waiting for the perfect moment asterisk, it's waiting for your obedience asterisk. You don't miss your calling in one big decision. You miss it in 1,000 small compromises, each one justifiable, each one wrapped in comfort. But there comes a point when delay becomes defiance, and if you're not moving in obedience, then you're already moving in the wrong direction. There's a dangerous illusion we often buy into, that asking is the same as preparing, but it's not. People pray for elevation, for success, for breakthrough, and then spend their days in distraction. That's not faith. That's fantasy. Real faith demands alignment between your desire and your discipline. If you're not preparing, you're not expecting. You don't build a ship unless you're expecting to sail. You don't train for battle unless you believe the fight is coming. Yet so many keep praying like warriors and living like tourists. God is not going to hand over a vision to someone who hasn't proven they're ready to carry the weight of it. Your preparation isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about proving to yourself that you take your purpose seriously. If you can't be trusted to train in the dark, why should you be trusted to lead in the light? You say you're waiting on God, but what if He's waiting on you? You don't get to walk into destiny untrained. If you're praying for it, you should be preparing for it, daily, deliberately, without applause. Because the dream you keep asking for will only become real when your preparation becomes your proof. Most people spend their lives fighting shadows, blaming their past, their environment, their critics, thinking the enemy is always external. But the truth is far more uncomfortable. The real war isn't out there. It's within. The greatest threat to your destiny is you. Your habits, your distractions, your refusal to confront the parts of yourself that resist growth. And that resistance is subtle. It's not always loud rebellion. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision to hit snooze, to scroll instead of study, to avoid instead of confront. You've been deceived into thinking that as long as you're not doing anything wrong, you're safe. But inaction can be just as destructive as misaction. The enemy isn't trying to destroy you with catastrophe. He's trying to wear you down with comfort. He doesn't need to pull you backward if he can keep you still. This is why self-awareness is sacred. You have to wake up and recognize when you are the one sabotaging your own progress. Because until you take responsibility for your own role in your stagnation, you will keep fighting battles that don't matter and losing the one that does. Sometimes, the most spiritual thing you can do is tell yourself the truth. Every excuse you make chips away at the structure of your potential. And what's worse, it's not just self-sabotage, it's an insult to the very God who designed you. When you say you're not smart enough, not ready, not strong enough, you're indirectly saying that the Creator didn't equip you properly. That somehow the one who formed you overlooked something critical, but he didn't. What he gave you is sufficient. It's not your lack of tools, it's your lack of resolve. Excuses are sophisticated lies dressed up in logic. They're how we justify our fear while pretending to be honest, but fear isn't truth. It's the voice of limitation convincing you to settle, to stall, to hide from responsibility. You tell yourself, I'm waiting for the right time. But what you're really doing is avoiding discomfort. And in avoiding discomfort, you avoid growth. You avoid the pain that shapes character. And most dangerously, you avoid the path that leads to your purpose. God's plan is not delayed by your enemies. It's delayed by your excuses. You can't beg for a break through while building a case for why you're not ready. You either honor your potential or you betray it, but you don't get to do both. We've been conditioned to think worship is just what happens in a sanctuary, hands lifted, voices raised, emotion pouring out. And while that has its place, it's not the full picture. Worship, in its most transformative form, is obedience. It's showing up to your assignment even when you don't feel like it. It's doing the work you were called to do, especially when no one's watching. Discipline is sacred. It's not just a habit. It's a form of reverence. When you train, when you build, when you persist through fatigue and resistance, what you're really saying is, I honor the calling placed on my life. There's a psychological reality here too. Discipline doesn't just shape your routine. It reshapes your identity. Every time you follow through on what matters, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who is capable, trustworthy, and worthy of responsibility. You move from inspiration to embodiment, and that's where true change happens, not in emotional highs, but in daily, consistent action. The question isn't whether you believe in God's plan. The question is whether your lifestyle honors it. Because the world doesn't need more talkers, more dreamers, more wishful thinkers. It needs people who live their calling like it's sacred.